Hi, my name is Corrie Pitzers, and I would like to share with you today some of my insights and views about safety. I'd like to tell you, first of all, how I got into safety. I want to talk with you about what I call dilemmas in safety. And there are 7 dilemmas that I think is of utmost importance in dealing with safety at the face. First of all is, who do we blame for an accident? Second dilemma is, why don't people comply to safety rules? Third dilemma is, why are people not aware of obvious risks? How do we reward people for good safety? Number 5, how do we eliminate risk and risk-taking from the workplace? How do we get people to believe in zero accidents? And then lastly, how do we convince people that safety pays, that safety... Who do we blame for an accident? On the screen, you will see an accident happening. You will see a person opening a trapdoor and another person walking between the trapdoor and the lady, and then the lady turns around, she doesn't see the trapdoor is open, and she falls in. Who do we blame for this accident? Well, people are accountable for their own safety. And in terms of that thinking, we must blame the lady who fell down the door because she didn't look when she turned around. Well, what would happen if we go to her and say to her, you are to be blamed for this accident? What would she say? Her first reaction would be, why didn't they tell me that the door is open? Well, then we go to the person who should have told her that the door is open. And we go to him and say to him, you are to be blamed for this accident. What would his reaction be? He would simply say, I didn't open the door. Well, then we go to the person who opened the door. And we say to him, you are to be blamed for the accident. And his first response would be, well, I do this every time, so many times a day, I do this every day. I can't be blamed for this accident, and most of all, you put the door here, Mr. Manager. I have no other option but to go down here and collect my stuff. Well, then the manager is to be blamed. In the end, everybody carries some sort of a blame here, and this is a typical behavioral accident. Now I know what. How do we get people to comply to rules, to safety rules in the environment? If we get that, people will not have accidents. Well, let's look at it, if it's true. On the screen, you'll see how I've divided up behavior. On the one hand, we have taking risks and acting safely. On the other hand, let's look at the third dilemma. Why are people not aware of obvious risks in their environment? Now, this is a very tough question and a very difficult issue to respond to. Let me show you a little video clip again of a young man who is doing a bit of jogging in the morning, and just watch his behavior. He is carefully looking to the right to see if there's no cars coming, and then look what happens. Well, what do we make of this? Tomorrow morning, this person is going to do another bit of jogging, and he will be very carefully now looking for stop signs. And yes, you know, he might then be run over by a car. Our awareness of risk in our environments is a fundamental issue in safety. As I showed you on the video clip with the lady that fell down a trapdoor, we become complacent about risks in our environments. And then we get instructions like this, often sent out by our safety professionals in the organization, where they come up with silly statements like this. Be conscious of risk all the time. Or safety is a mindset of thinking of the possibility of accidents all the time. Just think about the realities of that. If you tell people in your work environment to do that, how will they be able to achieve that? Looking at risks all the time, it's impossible. The human being cannot do this. And this whole issue of risk awareness is way beyond a simple statement just like this. How do we reward people to work safely? If you have a look at why people take risks, obvious risks that they see, they must be motivated to take those risks. And rule breaking happens because of 3 reasons. There's an opportunity to do that, there's benefit in doing that, and the person perceives low risk. That's exactly what the young man did when he crossed the road, or what that young man did when he parked the vehicle in front of the workshop. Think about driving your car on the road when you speed. There's no cops on the road, so there is your opportunity to speed. There's a benefit in getting home quicker, that's the benefit side of it, and you don't think it's dangerous to drive your vehicle 5 or 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. Those three ingredients are very powerful when they come together. Change one of them and you won't break the rule. If you see a cop car in your rear view mirror, you won't speed. If you have to go home and mow the lawn, there's no benefit getting quicker, you won't speed. And these are very... How do we eliminate risk and risk-taking from the work environment? Well, let's tackle the first one first. How do we eliminate risk? Do you know of any environment where there is no risk? It is an impossible goal. We cannot eliminate risk. We cannot provide a safe work environment. It's physically, humanly impossible. But that's only part of the problem. How do we get people to believe in zero harm? And this is, if you think about it, the ultimate goal in safety. Zero accidents, zero harm. And that's a noble and very powerful goal for people to have. But is it? Let's look at the practicalities of this. Well, there are two issues here. The first issue is it really possible to achieve zero? Zero accidents, zero harm. And I know people make this a goal and state this as the ultimate goal in safety, but is it? Is it truly possible to have a situation where in your work environment you never have a single thing going wrong? Not a single error, not a scratch, not nothing. That's not realistic. No, there's no condition like that in the world. It's just against nature to think that everything is paradise-like. It's impossible. And yet we make this a goal for people. And we say to people, we're going to achieve zero goal. Well, why do we do this? Well, obviously, we cannot say to people, we're going to achieve 1 accident, or the target is 2 accidents. Nobody can say that. We have to state zero as a goal. But are we stating things to... How do we convince people that safety pays, that safety prevents losses, accidents cost money, and get people to be motivated in that way? Well, on the screen, I have 5 statements. And this is what we've surveyed in our work with people. What is important to them? And what is the most powerful statement of the 5? And you'll see statements like, my supervisor really cares about safety, my manager is genuinely committed to safety, the safety program is well managed, if there's something going wrong, if I report an accident or a hazard, something gets done about it, and then a statement that says, this company really cares about us. When we manage safety, we do the safety management things. We put safety management systems in place, we put procedures in place, we give people the right protective equipment, and we do all those things to protect people. But as you've seen, the more we protect people, the more confident people become that they are protected, that they don't have to do anything themselves. We have to reach the hearts and minds of people. We have to develop and harness those skills in people when we want to be safe and get safety happening in our organizations. I want to leave you with the words of one of the greatest mathematicians that ever lived, Albert Einstein. He knew everything about numbers, and he said, not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. And this is so true of safety. The fundamental value of care for each other, we cannot count that. We cannot measure that, but we can live that. Thank you very much.